Sports are an interesting subgenre in storytelling, usually focused on a group of people overcoming personal struggles for the good of the team, leading to victory in a somewhat meaningful, somewhat meaningless game. Usually the struggle of getting better at throwing a ball, hitting a ball, or kicking a ball is just a backdrop to deal with other issues, a place to deal with topics like racism, friendship, and overcoming personal problems. Above all, the most common theme in movies and shows about sports is teamwork. However, Blue Lock isn't about any of those things at all. Blue Lock is about getting better at soccer and crushing anyone in your path to get it. There is no lesson in friendship or teamwork. The only personal problems Isagi has to overcome is getting better at the sport than the top players around him. The reason Blue Lock feels so different from something like Haikyuu, why it isn't just another sports anime, is that it's actually a battle shonen. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain how all of Blue Lock is a battle shonen death game, dressed up as a sports anime. First is the stakes. Normally a sports anime has the risk of a team winning or losing their games. There can be a lot of emotional build-up through backstories that make you want to root for the players and their victory. In a lot of ways, it's the same emotional attachment that fans have for real sports. It's fun to pick a team and hope they win, whether it's because you like their players or even just the team colors and mascot. But as this classic YouTube video points out, it's a volleyball anime. There's no way they can die. The idea of the risk being that high is laughable. In Battle Shonen, the stakes are almost always death. If you're not strong enough, this enemy might actually end your life, and the lives of those you love. While getting injured does happen in sports, it's not the actual stakes of the story. A death of a character is also more meaningful beyond just how other characters respond to it. It's also powerful because they are no longer a part of the show. They are dead in the fiction, but also in real life, because the audience no longer gets to see that character. Of course, Blue Lock isn't killing off soccer players, but as the storytelling goes, it might as well be. The overall concept of Blue Lock is a death game, akin to something like Squid Game or the millions of anime with a similar concept. Blue Lock is built on making one great striker for Japan's national team. Therefore, the losers at Blue Lock eventually get kicked out, and when this happens, they are gone from the story completely. In a story perspective, to us the audience, the character is dead. Blue Lock is built on such a good concept to bring that kind of tension to the story. And like I mentioned in a previous video I made on Blue Lock, I don't even like soccer, but I've loved watching this anime. Now, the stakes are not the only thing that makes the show more of a battle shonen than a normal sports drama. It's also the structure of the storytelling itself. Compared to something like Hunter x Hunter, we see every situation is built up for a fight, from Heaven's Arena to Chimera Ant Arc, where it leads up to Gon's fight against Neferupito and Chairman Netero's last-ditch effort against Meruem. By having earlier interactions, or setting up the future fighters as being among the most powerful in the world, it makes the fights themselves so memorable and exciting. In Blue Lock, we see the same situation played out with the players. At the beginning of the story, we see several teams competing against each other while we follow Isagi's Team Z. The matches are interesting, and it gets us used to the rules and situations we will continue to see in Blue Lock, but mostly this part is setting up the eventual future showdowns between the strong players. Of course, this is all in the setting of a team sport, but most of the time, so is Hunter x Hunter. However, it's the individual matchups that's the focus of these large-scale battles in both shows. Early on in Season 1, Isagi's team faces down against Baro. He's shown as a very skilled and selfish player. He is the best of his team. This sets up the later match, where Isagi wins against him, then teams up with him, and eventually completely surpasses him. This is very reminiscent of many Battle Shonen. Luffy and Crocodile is a good example of this. But as Battle Shonen go along, they need to change things up. If every battle is just one-on-one hero and villain fight, it's going to get boring really quick. And so we see the final aspect that shows how Blue Lock is more of a battle shonen than a normal sports anime. One of the biggest differences between team sport anime and battle shonen is the matchups. Big sports matches are always planned out. You can always expect Team 1 to play against Team 2. But in any show focused on fighting, there's infinite different possible matchups between fighters. The concept of Blue Lock once again fixes the predictability of its genre. It's not built on one team, it's built on the individual players. Nagi, Bachira, and Isagi all have really great chemistry, and are friends who push each other to get better. But that doesn't mean they'll always be cooperative, or that they'll even be on the same team. In fact, most of the time they aren't. Blue Lock is very competitive. The players are incentivized to be enemies, to steal goals and make themselves shine more than their peers. Although they are put on teams, it's the individual effort, even in how they work as a team, that is rewarded. This concept is pounded into our heads from Ego talking about being egotistical every other sentence when he is on screen. So finally, we are led to a classic trope in series about fighting. Have the bad guys and the good guys team up to face another foe. And that's where the U20 arc comes in. A bigger existential threat arrives, forcing all the players to come together to defeat a larger enemy before once again trying to off each other. The background politics leading to this matchup feels even more like a Battle Shonen, where most of the fights are an expression of different ideologies. Ego's new ideas for training against the higher-ups' traditional way of doing things. It's such an interesting idea to take a sports drama and turn it into something so unique and interesting through using the storytelling style of a different genre. I love stuff like this. Mob Psycho, which is my second favorite anime of all time, does the opposite of Blue Lock by turning an over-the-top battle shonen into a slice-of-life, coming-of-age story about an insecure boy. By twisting and using these tropes in a different setting than what we are used to, it creates a fresh feeling for otherwise common storytelling. And finally, this is why the drop of animation quality of Season 2 is so disappointing. When building up to a fight, the epic animation and choreography makes the whole thing satisfying. But even despite that, it doesn't ruin the show, because the storytelling is so interesting. Not because it's soccer, one of my least favorite sports, but because it's a really interesting battle shonen. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be experimenting with some different kinds of videos soon. So let me know if you want more videos like this, or more videos like what's coming next. That's all for me. Jamio.